What are 3 of the worst questions you can use when you engage with a prospect? My name's James White and I'm the UK's leading prospect conversion expert. And in this video, I'm going to share with you 3 questions not to use if you want to get better sales results. Let's take a look at the video. When we engage with new prospects, one of the key things for us to understand is actually who's going to make the decision to actually go ahead with the product or service. But one of the worst questions that you can actually ask someone is to say to them, are you the decision maker? When you ask that question, the natural response for anyone is to think about their own self-importance. Very few of us want to be able to look like we don't have any influence or impact on the decisions that go on. And so the natural reaction to be able to say will be, yes, I am. The problem is, however, is if that person's actually not the decision maker, what it will mean is when you come to then try and make the decision happen for your project or service, and they haven't been able to get decisions approved by someone else, they're just going to put you off and not want to speak to you because they don't want to admit that they weren't the decision maker in the first place. Don't ask the question, are you the decision maker? If you do want to ask a question around who makes the decisions, word it in a way such as, is there anyone else involved in making the decision alongside yourself? This enables the person to really then say, I do get involved in the decisions, but it's also made by person X or Y. And that will help you understand who's key to be able to get influence and support from in order to get your bit of business over the line. The second bad question you need to ensure you don't ask is a question related to budget. And the question is, what is your budget for this project? If you think about it, if someone asks you how much you want to spend when you go into maybe a shop or to a car garage or to buy something, and they say to you, how much do you want to spend on it? Are you really going to tell them exactly how much money you've got in your pocket or how much you've set aside for it? You might in some cases, but invariably the response you'll get to that is, I'm not sure, or I actually am not going to tell you, or realistically, because you've not built up trust and a rapport with that person, you're not going to give them basically the keys to the safe so that they can make you spend that full amount of money. Asking the question, what is your budget, is a really bad way of being able to make the prospect feel that they don't want to tell you information, and it's also going to cause you challenges later down the line when actually you really then don't get the answer that you want to know whether this prospect is someone that is right for you and someone that's really qualified to work and use your service. A much better way to ask that question would be able to say, typically the budget range for a service of our type ranges from X to Y. How does that fit in with your budget plans? By asking a question in that way, not only are you then able to see whether the range you've given actually does fit in with the budget plans that the prospect has, but if you also watch the way they respond and their body language, you can really sense whether they feel that's too expensive or too cheap, and maybe then adjust what you've done as a result of that. It also gives the prospect a chance to be able to say, yeah, that fits in within my range of pricing, or no, that's way out of what I was looking to spend, or I was actually expecting it to be a lot more than that. So it can enable you then to know whether you can upsell or even downsell in a situation of that type. The key thing is not to ask the question, what is your budget? Because you're not going to get a straight answer 9 times out of 10, and it's going to lead you down a path of trying to then focus on a prospect who may then not have the resources to buy your service in time. Another bad question to ask your prospects is a question such as this. What is your problem? Firstly, that comes across in quite an aggressive way to the prospect. And even if your meaning behind it is that you're really keen to understand what's causing them issues, the way you ask that question is going to basically put the prospects back up and really make them feel like they don't want to give you that answer. Do I really want to say to someone who I don't really know that well what my major problems are? No, I'm not going to want to respond in that way, and therefore it's going to make me guarded and not want to give the response I want to that person, which then in time will cause later problems in the actual sales process. A great question to use when you want to understand how big of a problem it is for the prospect is to ask them this. How big of an impact is this issue having on you and the way in which you operate? So what that basically enables the prospect to do is to be able to share some thoughts around how big the problem is, or not as the case may be, but without actually putting them under pressure and making them feel that they've got a problem. Getting the prospect to talk about how they feel, their emotions, the impact that this situation is causing them is a great way to get to know them more, and it helps you put yourself in their shoes to really see whether this is a big issue for them that they want to get resolved, or whether it's actually just an annoyance and therefore not something maybe high on their priority list. The 3 questions I've mentioned here are questions of the same type, but it's asking the question in a different way. And if we think about BANT, which is a video that I've shared in the past, where I talk around the type of questions that you can engage and use with prospects, you'll notice the key one here we haven't mentioned is timing. Sometimes asking your prospect when they expect to make a decision is a good question to ask, but it can also put the prospects back up and make them think they don't want to give you a response. So maybe asking a question such as, do you have a time frame in which you'd love to get this issue resolved, is another way of being able to understand their time frames that they're working with, and it can be asked in a way that doesn't make the prospect feel that you're really trying to pinpoint a date in their diary for when they're going to then phone you and get that issue resolved. These 4 questions are questions, if you ask them in the wrong way, with the wrong tone or in the wrong approach, are going to put your prospects back up. But if you can adjust your methods, adjust your tone, and adjust the way in which you ask the question, I can assure you it's going to help build stronger rapport with your prospect, and it's help you get better results. Questions are the key to so many of the sales issues that we have. And so focus on what questions you ask and how you ask them in order to get better sales results. On my website, I share 42 questions that you can download that you can use to be able to engage with your prospects. Download the questions and maybe then practice these questions with a colleague or maybe a member of your family and see how you can adjust your tone and approach to get better results. Or if you're thinking, I need some sales mentoring and help to do this, hey, I'd love to help you and help make sure that you get the results you want. My name's James White and I'm the UK's leading prospect conversion expert. And thanks for watching this video about the questions not to use if you want to get the sales results you want. I'm helping service businesses get better sales results, and I'd love to do the same for you. But I also love you to share my content, the videos, have a look at my website at www.jameswhite.business and look at the materials that I can provide and see if they can help you get better sales results. My goal is to help you turn those spreadsheet targets into actual numbers. And by working with me, we can make that happen. I look forward to sharing more videos, content and ideas with you really soon.